Ted, Bill wanted this game. Obviously, he wants every game. Maybe he needed this game. I mean, that shot of him coming off the field and giving Mac Jones that hug. If this were 10 years ago, in the middle of the Brady run, and they played the way they played today and had this kind of win, Bill would have been head down, slumped off the field.
Yeah.
But this one, again, I think he needed it.
Yeah, he did. His reaction was genuine. I think he was really happy about this game. When you consider what's going on in training camp, all the question marks around his coaching staff, how they played in Week 1 against the Miami Dolphins, and so he just wanted something to stop the bleeding. And a win and it wasn't pretty. I mean, he style points. My guess, look, it was a good win for the Patriots. Look how Bill. You never see him that excited, you guys. And so it's a great point you bring up, Michael. It just shows you, though, really kind of, I think, where he's at, the stress level. I mean, there's pressure. He feels pressure. And I think that kind of reaction just shows it right there. All the turmoil, again, just the negative press that his team's been getting. A lot of the doubters, they shut him up for at least maybe 1 week.
He sought the quarterback out, too.
Yes.
That's the one thing that kind of stuck out to me in seeing that video. The margin for error here is razor thin.
Was this a good win? Come on.
Yes, it's a good win because of the way you closed it out. Like, that's what I want to give them credit for. Same thing you gave them credit for. A lot of times football coaches will judge their team's toughness on stopping the run and being able to run the ball when the other team knows it's coming. The last 6 minutes of the game, you did that. You showed some toughness. So I think because of that, it's a good win. How good is this Steeler team? Well, I mean, the Bengals turned the ball over 5 times last week against them. And if the Bengals long snapper doesn't tear his bicep, Cincinnati beats them. So I think this Steeler team, especially without T.J. Watt, is a middle of the pack AFC.
I think if there was 2/3 of the teams in the NFL would have beat the Patriots today. I mean, but they weren't playing the other 2/3. They were playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, which has a quarterback that isn't very good, quite honestly, and a defense that didn't look anything like I thought they would look. Even with T.J. Watt missing, I just didn't think they looked that good. And it wasn't the best performance out of the quarterback. I mean, I almost think that maybe they won this game in spite of Mac Jones.
Okay, well, let's get to that question now since you just brought it up again. I like the question. Ted introduced it, but I'll start with you, Bert. Was Mac Jones the reason you won this or almost lost it?
I think it's somewhere in the middle. I know that sounds like a cop-out.
Not an acceptable answer here on Sports Sunday.
I think he almost lost it for you. You had the drop pick, and everybody remembers the Gunnar Olszewski play. The play before, Mac Jones should have been picked off by Cam Sutton. You could argue the touchdown pass to Nelson Aguilar should have been picked off by Witherspoon. So that would have been 3 picks. And at that point, you lose the game. And so it's hard for me to look at this as a great performance. Now, I will say he did show some wherewithal. This is where I middle it a little bit, in that he looked efficient in spots today, and he was able to overcome the mistakes, which is a good sign for a young player. But overall, it wasn't his best performance.
You know what? He's a kid that usually overcomes a lot of his mistakes, but sometimes his mistakes are so frequent that you can't dig yourself out of the hole. And I just thought the clock management was bad all day. That interception, I mean, it wasn't even close.
Yeah,
I mean, that should have been an interception.
Funny, yeah.
That wasn't even close. I don't know what he was. Well, that was fine, but the play before, there was too much reliance on, I thought, on Jacoby Myers and really maybe trying to force it to Devontae Parker. That first interception was a bad interception. What is it? Illegal out of the pocket.
Yeah. Intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding, excuse me. That was a terrible play by him. Yeah. And so there was just a lot of plays that were head scratchers, and the fact that he's not getting on the same page with Devontae Parker's got me concerned.
At least part of this, too, there's still issues with the operation. And I just feel like it's glaring. The false starts, the delay of game, that sort of stuff.
And then a couple timeouts, you know, so there's either a delay of game or a timeout to avoid a delay of game. Coming out of a timeout, up against the play clock, you can just tell it's not right.
I have trouble putting all of that. I'm not putting all of that on the quarterback. Obviously, some of it's on Matt Patricia and Joe Judge and the offensive coaches. But some of it's on the quarterback. The quarterback's got the ability to clean that stuff up on the fly, and I think you see where maybe that's his youth showing up a little bit.
They showed his face after him having to call a timeout because the play. I think the plays are not getting in there fast enough. I feel like there's a breakdown in how the play gets to Mac Jones, and we don't know what the process is. We're left in the dark. We all think that maybe it's Matt Patricia, and if it is Matt Patricia calling the plays, he's got to get the plays called in faster because this is something happened in preseason where you saw Mac Jones getting very frustrated with the timing of when the play comes in. So when he gets up to the line of scrimmage, he doesn't have enough time to call the play and make his adjustments.
So I will give him credit again on that last drive. I thought the 2 best plays he made all day. They had just taken a holding penalty on Jacoby Myers, kind of a questionable call on an outside run. Jacoby Myers got rung up for holding. 2nd and 13, he found little Jordan Humphrey. So he came off. He was right, Ted. He was focusing. He was tunnel vision on Jacoby Myers most of this game, or dump offs. And on that one, he must have gone to his third progression or something, because he went to Humphrey really for the first time. That got him to, I think, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, and then he picked it up with his legs. And those were sort of winning plays. And again, full credit for those on Mac Jones. The rest, I think we were all expecting much more out of him and that passing game. And so that's still a work in progress.